Why your feet feel cold all the time after 65 2,000 plus word YouTube script. Hook 0. Have you ever climbed into bed, pulled the blankets over yourself, and still felt like your feet were made of ice? Maybe you put on thick socks, rub your feet together, or even place them near a heater, but they just never seem to warm up. And perhaps you've told yourself, well, I'm over 65, I guess this is just part of getting older. But what if it isn't? Cold feet can sometimes be completely harmless. Your room may simply be cold, your feet may have less natural insulation, or your body may not be sending as much warm blood to your hands and feet as it does when you were younger. But when your feet feel cold all the time, especially when the rest of your body feels comfortable, it's worth paying attention. Because persistent cold feet can sometimes be connected to circulation, nerve changes, thyroid problems, anemia, certain medications, or other health conditions. And today, we're going to talk about the most common reasons this happens after 65, what signs you should never ignore, and a few simple things you can do to help protect your feet and your overall health. So stay with me until the end, because one of the causes we're going to discuss can affect your feet without actually making them cold to the touch. Let's get started. Introduction. As we get older, our bodies change. Our blood vessels can become less flexible, our muscles may decrease, our skin becomes thinner, we may become less active. And some of us develop conditions such as diabetes, high blood pressure, thyroid problems, or circulation issues. All of these changes can influence how your feet feel. That's why I don't want you to panic simply because your feet are cold. Cold feet do not automatically mean you have poor circulation or a serious disease. But if the problem is new, persistent, getting worse, or happening together with other symptoms, it deserves attention. Think of your feet as messengers. Sometimes they're simply telling you, the room is cold. But sometimes they're saying, something else is happening in the body. So let's look at the most important possibilities. Reason number 1, your circulation may not be as strong as it used to be. One of the first things to consider is blood flow. Your heart pumps blood throughout your body, and that blood carries oxygen and warmth to your tissues. Your feet are far away from your heart, so they depend on a healthy network of blood vessels to receive enough blood. As we age, arteries can become narrower or less flexible. In some people, plaque buildup can reduce blood flow to the legs and feet. This condition is commonly called peripheral artery disease, or PAD. And one of the important things about PAD is that some people have very few symptoms in the beginning. Others may notice that one or both feet feel unusually cold. You might also notice that your feet look paler than usual, or that one foot seems colder than the other. You may develop discomfort in your calf or thigh when walking that improves after resting. You could also notice wounds on your feet that take longer than expected to heal. Now, having cold feet alone does not mean you have PAD, but if cold feet come with leg pain during walking, changes in skin color, weak pulses, numbness, or slow healing sores, don't simply blame aging. Talk with your healthcare professional. A simple examination can help determine whether your circulation needs to be checked. Reason number 2. You may be less active than you realize. Here's a very simple reason that many people overlook. Movement helps circulation. When you walk, your leg muscles contract and relax. This movement helps blood return through the veins and keeps your lower body active. But after retirement, illness, injury, or simply getting older, many people gradually become less active. Maybe you spend more time sitting in a chair. Maybe you watch television for several hours. Maybe you don't walk as much as you did 10 years ago. And over time, your feet may feel colder. This doesn't necessarily mean something is seriously wrong. Sometimes your body simply isn't generating as much movement and warmth in the lower legs. That's why regular gentle movement can be helpful. You don't need to run. You don't need to spend an hour at the gym. Even short walks, if they're safe for you, can be useful. You can also gently move your ankles while sitting. Try pointing your toes forward and then pulling them back. Make slow circles with your ankles. Stand up periodically if you're able to do so safely. The goal isn't to exhaust yourself. The goal is simply to avoid being completely still for long periods. And if walking causes significant leg pain, don't force yourself through it. That's something worth discussing with your doctor. Reason number 3. Nerve changes can make your feet feel cold. Now here's something very interesting. Sometimes your feet feel cold even when they're not actually cold. Why? Your nerves. Your nervous system constantly sends information to your brain. It tells you whether something feels hot, cold, painful, sharp, or soft. When nerves in the feet become damaged or irritated, those signals can become distorted. You might experience burning, you might feel tingling, you might feel numbness, you might feel like you're wearing socks even when you're barefoot. And sometimes you may feel an unusual cold sensation. One common cause of nerve damage is diabetes. But diabetes isn't the only possible cause. Certain nutritional deficiencies, alcohol exposure, some medications, and other neurological conditions can also affect nerves. This is especially important because numb or altered feeling feet can make injuries easier to miss. Imagine stepping on something sharp and barely feeling it, or developing a blister from your shoes without realizing it. That's why older adults should make a habit of looking at their feet regularly. Check the tops, check the bottoms, look between your toes, look for cuts, blisters, redness, swelling, cracks, or changes in color. If you have reduced sensation, don't rely only on how your feet feel. Use your eyes too. Reason number 4. Low thyroid function can sometimes contribute. Another possible reason for feeling unusually cold is a thyroid problem. Your thyroid gland helps regulate many processes in the body, including metabolism. When the thyroid doesn't produce enough thyroid hormone, a person may develop a condition called hypothyroidism. Feeling unusually cold can be one symptom, but usually there are other clues. You may feel unusually tired. You might notice dry skin. You may experience constipation. You might have difficulty concentrating. You may gain weight without intentionally changing your eating habits. You may also notice changes in your hair or mood. Again, these symptoms can have many different causes. That's why you shouldn't diagnose yourself based on cold feet alone. If you're experiencing several of these changes at the same time, talk to your healthcare professional. A blood test can help evaluate thyroid function. And if a thyroid problem is found, your doctor can determine whether treatment is appropriate. Reason number 5. Anemia can make you feel cold. Here's another cause that deserves attention. Anemia occurs when your blood doesn't have enough healthy red blood cells or hemoglobin to carry oxygen effectively. There are different types and causes of anemia. Sometimes it is related to iron deficiency. Sometimes it can be related to vitamin deficiencies, chronic disease, blood loss, or other conditions. One possible symptom is feeling cold, including cold hands and feet. You might also feel tired. You may become short of breath more easily. You may feel weak. You might experience headaches or dizziness. But these symptoms are not specific to anemia. For someone over 65, persistent unexplained fatigue should not simply be dismissed as getting older. Your doctor can decide whether blood testing is appropriate. And here's an important point. Please don't automatically start taking iron supplements just because you have cold feet. Too much iron can be harmful, and iron supplements aren't appropriate for everyone. The right treatment depends on the underlying cause. So test first, then treat the cause. Reason number 6. Some medications can affect how your feet feel. If your feet became noticeably colder after starting a medication, it's worth bringing up with your healthcare professional. Certain medications can influence blood vessels, circulation, blood pressure, or the way your body responds to cold. But here's the important part. Never stop a prescribed medication on your own because your feet feel cold. Some medications are extremely important for protecting your heart, blood pressure, or other aspects of your health. Instead, make a list of everything you're taking. That includes prescriptions, over-the-counter medications, vitamins, minerals, herbal products, and supplements. Bring that list to your doctor or pharmacist. Sometimes the explanation is simple. Sometimes another cause needs to be investigated, and sometimes nothing needs to be changed at all. The key is not to make medication decisions based on a YouTube video. Use the information from this video as a reason to ask better questions. Reason number 7. Your environment may simply be too cold. Now, let's talk about the simplest explanation. Sometimes cold feet are simply caused by cold temperatures. As we age, we may become more sensitive to cold. Older adults can also have less body fat and muscle mass than they did when they were younger. So if your house is chilly, your feet may cool down quickly. This is especially common when you're sitting still. Your feet aren't moving much, your muscles aren't producing much heat, and you're exposed to a cold floor. Try simple changes first. Wear comfortable warm socks. Use slippers with good insulation. Keep your living space comfortably warm. Move your feet periodically. And if you're using a heating pad or electric blanket, be careful. This is particularly important if you have reduced sensation in your feet. If you can't accurately feel temperature, you may accidentally burn your skin. Warm your feet gradually rather than exposing them to extreme heat. But what if only one foot is cold? This is an important question. If both feet are cold in a cold room, that's one situation. But if one foot suddenly becomes much colder than the other, that's different. Especially if it's accompanied by severe pain, numbness, weakness, pale or bluish skin, or a sudden change in sensation. That needs urgent medical attention. A sudden decrease in blood flow to a limb can be serious. Don't sit at home for hours waiting to see if it goes away. And don't try to solve a sudden circulation problem with a heating pad. Seek urgent medical care. Your feet are important, and sudden changes should never be ignored. When cold feet should get your attention. So let's make this simple. Cold feet deserve a medical conversation when the problem is persistent, new, getting worse, or happening with other symptoms. Pay particular attention if you also have leg pain when walking, numbness, tingling, weakness, skin color changes, swelling, slow healing wounds, foot ulcers, or unexplained changes in the skin. Also pay attention if your feet feel cold, but you have very little ability to feel temperature or pain. And if you have conditions that can affect circulation or nerves, such as diabetes or known vascular disease, regular foot care becomes even more important. A simple daily foot check after 65. Now I want to give you a simple routine. It takes only a few minutes, and you can do it once a day or regularly as recommended by your healthcare professional. First, look at your feet. Are they the same color? Is one more pale, red, blue, or purple than the other? Second, look at the skin. Are there cracks, blisters, cuts, sores, red areas? Third, check your toes. Do they look normal? Is there swelling? Fourth, pay attention to sensation. Are you suddenly experiencing numbness or tingling? Finally, think about your walking. Are your legs becoming painful when you walk? Are you walking less because your feet or legs become uncomfortable? These small observations can give you useful information. You don't need to become obsessed with checking your feet, but you should become familiar with what your feet normally look and feel like. That way changes are easier to recognize. What you can do to support healthy feet. Let's talk about practical steps. Number 1, keep moving safely. Regular walking or other appropriate physical activity can support overall cardiovascular health. If you're not active right now, start slowly and choose activities that are appropriate for your abilities. Number 2, keep your feet warm. Use socks and comfortable footwear. Avoid walking barefoot on cold floors if that makes your feet uncomfortable. Number 3, don't use extreme heat, especially if you have diabetes or reduced sensation. A heating pad can cause burns without you realizing it. Number 4, take care of your skin. Dry, cracked skin can become more vulnerable to injury. Moisturizing the skin can help, but avoid putting moisturizer between your toes unless your healthcare professional recommends it. Number 5, choose comfortable shoes. Your shoes should not constantly squeeze your toes or rub against your skin. Number 6, control the conditions that affect circulation. If you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, or another condition that affects cardiovascular health, work with your healthcare team to manage it. Number 7, don't ignore wounds. If a small cut or blister isn't healing normally, get it checked. Especially if you have diabetes, circulation problems, or reduced sensation. One thing I want you to remember. Here's the biggest message I want you to take away from today's video. Cold feet are not always a sign of disease. Sometimes they're simply cold. Sometimes you're sitting too long. Sometimes the room is chilly. Sometimes your body has become more sensitive to temperature with age. But persistent cold feet can also be a clue. And the clue becomes more important when it's accompanied by pain, numbness, weakness, color changes, swelling, or wounds that don't heal. Don't panic. But don't ignore changes either. Your goal isn't to diagnose yourself. Your goal is to notice changes early and tell the right healthcare professional. That's how you protect your health as you get older. Conclusion. If you're over 65 and your feet seem to be cold all the time, ask yourself a few simple questions. Are both feet affected or just one? Do they actually feel cold or do they only feel cold? Do you have numbness or tingling? Do your legs hurt when you walk? Have you noticed changes in skin color? Are you developing sores or wounds that heal slowly? And most importantly, is this new for you? If the answer is yes, don't simply assume it's part of aging. Mention it at your next medical appointment. And if you have sudden severe pain, sudden numbness or weakness, or a foot that suddenly becomes pale, blue, or dramatically colder than the other foot, seek urgent medical attention. Your feet may seem like a small part of your body, but they can tell you a lot about your overall health. So take care of them. Keep them moving, keep them protected, look at them regularly, and listen when they start behaving differently. If this video helped you understand why your feet may feel cold after 65, give this video a like and subscribe for more simple, practical health information for older adults. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do your feet feel cold all the time, or mostly at night? Your experience might help someone else realize they're not alone. Remember, getting older doesn't mean you have to ignore changes in your body. The earlier you notice something unusual, the sooner you can ask the right questions. Take care of yourself, take care of your feet, and I'll see you in the next video. Medical disclaimer. This video is for general educational purposes only and is not a diagnosis or a substitute for personalized medical care. If you have persistent or concerning symptoms, speak with a qualified healthcare professional.